that so many more people are going to discover courtesy this Mela and family. So it's a good time to discover the power of our female-led enterprises. I'm actually looking forward to visit some of the stalls if I can later.
Sure.
But more than anything else, I'm really happy to be here in Bhubaneswar. So thank you for having me.
Thanks, dear. I think please take a seat now. So dear, you have been continuously evolving yourself in so many different ways. You have a plethora of achievements and titles under your belt, which prove that you have had a very extraordinary journey. So I will begin by asking you, by talking to you about something which is very close to your heart. You had a very strong voice in raising awareness for climate change. You are an advocate for conscious, consumerism, and you have achieved multiple awards at different stages for all the activities which you do. But I would like to know, why is it that this cause is so close and so dear to you, and what all of us can do to contribute to the same?
Thank you, Nino ji, for asking this very important question. Climate change is not a popular topic. It's evident. It's staring in our face. It's something that many communities, many people are discovering every day. It's impacting them. Temperatures are changing drastically. Heat is intensifying, cold is intensifying. It's causing all kinds of human damage and loss. There are all kinds of natural disasters that are occurring because of man-made climate change. There isn't a simple answer to this question. The first and the most important thing is, even before I became a mother, I realized that everyone I love, lives on this planet. And if the question of our survival is so stark and so evident, because it's not just about our survival in the next 5 years or this decade, it's about our survival over the next 100 years, 200 years. And that includes the survival of my children and hopefully my grandchildren. And not just the survival, but the quality of life. So right now, as we see it, the air is polluted, the soil is polluted, our food is contaminated, our water is polluted. It's causing widespread distress and disease, and the climate is changing. So I think it was hard not to react and respond to the crisis, and the choice really is about understanding the problem and asking myself, what is it that I can do to help make a difference? What are the changes that I can bring in my everyday life to make a difference? And hopefully while doing that, let me share it with some more people and hope that they will change with me. But when I say man-made human climate change, I mean that it is our overconsumptive, overexploitative behavior that has caused some terrible imbalances on the planet. We've destroyed ecosystems, we've destroyed nature, we've cut forests, we've polluted the air, we've done so much. Think about it. कुदरत में कितने स्पीसीज हैं, कितने जानवर हैं, कितने पक्षी हैं, कितने अलग अलग अन्य प्रकार के स्पीसीज हैं. उनमें से एक इंसान है जो प्रकृति से अलग रहने लगा. Human beings are the only species that live outside of the natural world. We've built walls, we've built cities, we've built boundaries, we've built borders. In nature, these things don't exist. And in that false idea of our world that we have created, we've forgotten that everything that we need in our everyday lives, whatever comfort it brings us, but the most basic needs, which is the air to breathe, the food to eat, the water to drink, all comes from nature. and thereby everything else, the clothes we wear, the food that we produce, the cars that we build, the technology that we make, everything comes from nature. And it has to go back to nature in a form that does not destroy nature. So if we are entirely dependent on nature for our existence, then should we not assign more value to nature? Should we not respect nature more? Should we not love nature more? And should we not all do more to protect nature? That's one part of the question. The second part is, what can I do? The first thing we can all do is to appreciate that connection that each of us has with nature and say, I am a part of nature. My life is connected to nature. What can I do in my everyday life to improve my relationship with nature? So the first thing that I think we can all do, believe it or not, because we're the only species that creates waste that is toxic, unlike any other species, we need to become aware of the waste that we create. At home, in our businesses, wherever it is, we need to learn to manage our waste better. Segregate, compost, manage waste. The second thing that I think we can all do is learn to consume less and waste less. The third is eat seasonal, local fruits and vegetables that are not packaged in plastic. The fourth thing that I think we can all do is to refuse single-use plastics. The fifth thing that I think we can all do is replace CFL bulbs with LEDs, ensure that all the technology that we use at home is energy efficient and is not being used wastefully. The sixth thing I think we can all do is to support organizations that work for the protection of nature and wildlife, and of course do our own bit. One of the things that I love doing is gifting trees in the names of my loved ones. So whether it's a birthday or an anniversary, I grow trees in people's names. So grow trees and do it with the commitment to see them through their lifespan. So nurture the trees that you grow. I think these are 7 things, like the 7 colors of the rainbow, each of us can do, because I think individual action definitely counts and can make a big difference.
Yes, so correct, Dia. All of us in our little way, we can definitely contribute. The irony is that all of us live through it. All of us complain, oh, the air is so bad, the water is so polluted, the water is full of chlorine. But we do not take any steps. And you have mentioned it in one of your earlier interviews, that unless pollution becomes a vote bank, it becomes a part of the elections, it becomes a part of the national agenda, it will never make newspaper headlines. For example, our own capital, people who are living in the capital city are breathing in polluted air. Delhi is the most polluted city in the world. And we all have played a part, consciously or unconsciously contributed to it. So
21 of the most polluted cities on the planet are in India.
Yes,
it's
so sad.
It's a stark
statistic. It is so sad. But you have been doing a lot of awareness. I know you have been involved in even going to the schools and teaching the kids about environment, about the wildlife, about educating the kids. And in one of your interviews, you also have told that you have great hopes and you believe completely in the goodness of humanity because the younger generation is so aware. So I think as parents, all of us, we need to clap for all our children. They are completely aware. Yes?
Yeah, I think we need to raise stewards of the planet. We need to raise children who will protect the planet and leave not a better planet for our children, but better children for our planet.
So true, dear, so true. I wanted to ask you also about your differentiating between your need and the greed, especially as you are in the public limelight all the time, you know, and as a figure, everyone is marking, what are you wearing, are you repeating your outfits? So it's a kind of a mental, thing that, okay, I have to be seen every time in a new outfit. but you have been very conscious about it, and I think you are the only person I know who actually practices complete, consciousness on when you're going to buy a new outfit or not. I think that's completely commendable. Completely commendable.
Nenuji, you've asked me a very spiritual question. But I think it centers around, so why do we dress a certain way? Why do we acquire the material things that we do? Many people do it for different reasons. I always look for the human story behind anything that I wear. And if it's a story that empowers and uplifts lives, then it's something that I am going to attach value to. So I choose conscious designs, I choose garments, textiles, weaves, handicraft that impacts and empowers lives and livelihoods. I don't mind repeating clothes, but I'm also fortunate that a lot of good people just give me clothes to wear and then they take it back once I've worn it. And in doing that, I'm able to add value to what it is that they're trying to do, and that's my good fortune. But even if I wasn't in, public life, I think this is the way I would go. I also think that it matters when you assign value to the human story as opposed to assigning value to, something more superficial. So that's what I try and focus on. What is the story that I can tell? What story can the garment tell? What story can the textile tell? What story can the image tell?
We can see your fondness and the truth in what you're speaking, because you're wearing handloom and you have come to support us, and we are really, INVEC is really supporting the handloom industry. So, with great ambition comes a challenging path to success. You started working at a very early age in pursuit of financial independence. As an outsider who carved her way into Bollywood, I'm sure your journey has been a completely roller coaster ride. So what kind of challenges you faced, or are there any interesting stories which you would like to share with us?
Okay, so I don't know if many of you know this, but I started working when I was 15. And I started working when I was 15 because I wanted to gain financial independence, and full credit to my parents for allowing me to go out and work while I was studying. I think the first thing that I realized when I started working was I became aware of my gender, very acutely aware of my gender. At home I was never treated differently from the boys, so I never perceived, obviously I knew I was a girl, but it was never a thing, it wasn't a big deal. But it was when I started working that I realized, oh, I'm a woman. The world treats women differently. I have to be careful about my safety, my security. I have to be careful if I'm traveling by bus. On the night bus, I have to call my parents and let them know I've reached or I'm safe. And then of course at the workplace also I saw a difference in treatment. I was fortunate because sometimes I would get attention because I was attractive. That would sometimes help, but many times it wouldn't. It would work against me. So there was a lot that I had to, navigate, which I think all women who start working in what is a largely male-dominated society discover along the way, as I did in my case. When I started working in film, I realized, oh, the men are treated very differently from the women. The expectation of professionalism is very different for women and for men. It was respected if the girl would come to shoot on time and be ready on time and wait endlessly for her male counterpart to arrive and get ready and arrive on set. So it was interesting, but I think What I learned along the way was two things that my father actually once told me when I just started working in film. He said, always pay your taxes so that you can sleep peacefully at night. So I've always paid my taxes. And the other thing that he always said to me was, don't do anything that does not resonate with your heart. So only do that which makes you truly happy. Because you're fortunate enough to be in a creative field where you can stimulate your senses and enjoy what you're doing. So there's no reason for you to assign value or do anything that makes you feel commodified. So that is the one thing that I've tried to ensure, Minoji, along my career, is to never allow anybody to turn me into a commodity.
I think all the youngsters who are pursuing the dreams in the fashion industry, in the film industry, I feel in any industry, that is something, I think that's a golden advice that we should all inculcate, all the youngsters. Never allow taxes and pay your taxes.
And don't sell your soul.
Yes. As an actor, dear, you have worked in a plethora of films. Some are light-hearted, while others bring forth pressing issues in our society that people seldom talk about. And as you are maturing as an actor, are you leaning towards films that send a very important message? What is it that draws you to a script? How is it that you choose your scripts?
You know, Minoji, because I've been working since I was so young, I started working in film when I was 18. And it's been 22 years in film now. And in the last decade, I've realized that life is so short, time is so precious, and the love is so deep for storytelling. I want to be a part of stories that help make a difference. So I'm always seeking out characters and stories that at some level impact positive change in society, because I think cinema is a very powerful instrument of social change. And now that I'm a mother, you know, it's so hard, like I feel separation anxiety when I'm away from my children. And the only reason that is good enough for me to go away from my children to be on a film set is if I know that when my children watch this story, it's going to make a difference in their lives. They're going to become better people, they're going to be better informed, they're going to care more. So those are the kind of stories that I choose, and thankfully those are the kind of stories that are choosing me. So I'm very fortunate. I have two wonderful films coming up this year. One is a film called Bheed by Anubhav Sinha, who I last did a film called Thappad with. And the other film that I'm doing is with a first-time director called Tarun Dudeja. He's made a film called Dhak Dhak with 4 women, Ratna Patak Shah, Fatima Sana Sheikh, Sanjana Sanghi and me. And it's a story about 4 women who ride a bike to the highest motorable pass in the world called Khardungla. And how they get there, why they go there is the story. So that's the kind of cinema that I'm a part of now, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, I think it's a very different and a unique role, and I wanted to ask you about that. How did you choose to do it? It's not easy riding a bike, so did you really learn how to ride a bike?
It's not easy riding a bike, and it's not easy riding a bike in a burqa in 40 degrees centigrade. समझ रही है ना आप मेरी बात को? But you know, Minoji, it was the most amazing thing because मैं ये काफ़ी बार कहती हूँ कि एजिज्म बहुत प्रेवलेंट है सोसाइटी में. हर काम के लिए कहते हैं अरे यार अब तुम्हारी उम्र होगी अभी कैसे करोगे, या कुछ भी अच्छा होता है तो you know even a compliment comes like अरे you still look so young. It's not a compliment. You're basically assigning more value to youth than you are to maturity, which is not a great thing because that just then you're going back to being ageist. And our industry and our stories are ageist. So for the longest time when I was in my 30s, I would constantly be told that women have a shelf life, that you will only play certain parts till a certain age. So I'm most kicked about the fact that I'm doing the best jobs of my life after I passed crossed the age of 40. And I used to always, so riding a bike was on my bucket list. I never got down to doing it. I was petrified. Accident ho jayega, kuch ho jayega. And when the film came along, I said, this is it. This is the opportunity to conquer a fear and learn something new. And believe it or not, and I'm saying this to all the ladies out there, that one day was the session learning about the bike, and on day 2, I was riding the bike. That's how simple it was. So I think we tend to make things to be bigger and more difficult in our heads. When we actually get down to doing things, it's very different. And I would say that too for all our fears. When we let go of them or we acknowledge and accept them is when we truly feel free.
Yes, completely true, yeah. And I can kind of, experience or empathize with what you went through because I am a rider. But I started riding when I was 48 years old.
Yay!
And
we're done.
And when
you ride in a sari? Is it possible?
It is possible if you wear it in a different style, dhoti style. Yes, you can. I have an outfit already stitched for that. But I remember
what a visual. Imagine what a beautiful, powerful visual.
When I started to ride, it was kind of funny because when I was on the road, I saw people literally fall off their bikes. Okay, a woman is riding a big bad bike and just smiling away. They couldn't believe it.
You know, my husband came for the training on day 2 just to watch me and kind of cheer me on. I think he fell in love with me a little harder that day because he was like, what is going on here? This is like the most powerful visual. It's very cool. I want to see you ride a bike, Neeraj.
Dear, you are flying out in the night, otherwise I would have taken you for a ride tomorrow.
What fun!
And I have a beautiful bike. She's hand painted, full of flowers, and I call her my Sony.
How lovely!
Okay, Tia, we are running short of time. I really wish I could have chatted to you for a longer time, but I'll quickly do a rapid fire round because everything we've talked about up till now has been on a serious note.
And I don't want a hamper at the end of it.
I don't have a hamper. I'm not coffee with it.
Good.
So the rules are very simple. I ask you questions. There are not so many of them also. There are just 5. And you tell me the first thing which comes to your mind. Right? So we start. Question number 1. Your favorite color?
White.
Your comfort food?
Dal, chawal, ghee, achar.
But I know you're a very good cook also.
Yeah.
You really enjoy cooking, right?
Yes.
And she can make really complicated stuff. She's a true Hyderabadi girl.
Yes.
Your favorite role?
Being a mother.
I cannot, say I don't agree. Yes, always. Dogs or cats?
Both.
An animal lover should not have asked her that. Tea or coffee?
Tea. वो भी काली चाय लेमन ग्रास और गुड़ के साथ.
Handloom or western outfit?
Handloom, any day.
Great. Fantastic. So Diya, it was a very short interaction. आपको एक बारी और आना पड़ेगा क्योंकि दिल अभी भरा नहीं है. बट टाइम इजाज़त नहीं देता है कि आपसे ये मुलाकात और हम लंबी करें. So it has been an extreme honor, dear, to have you over here. And I hold you to your promise. You have to come again and I'll take you on a bike ride.
I will, Meenuji. Thank you so much. Thank you for being such a gracious and generous audience. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
Lots of love to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful new year. And I hope we can all find ways to be a little more responsible towards that which provides us everything, our planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Diya. Thank you, Meenu ma'am. That was an amazing conversation. Diya, if I would request you to please stay back for a couple of minutes. We are now going to present a series of very special awards this evening. The Invec Patron Award, for which I would like to invite Ms. Sukirti Patnaik and Ms. Tanaya Patnaik on stage, please. may I please have on stage from MSME, Mr. Pawan Kumar Gupta. Now may I please have on stage Mr. K.K. Rath, Chairman of EVOS Buildcon Private Limited, the title sponsors for India Fashion and Lifestyle Mela.